Okay guys, welcome to today's video. This is going to be a super value packed video, tons of value. So definitely pay a close attention to this one. I'm going to be dropping a guide on how you can naturally increase your testosterone levels. Completely natural. This is the full comprehensive guide. Everything you need to know, every step you need to get your testosterone levels to raise them significantly. If you implement the things in this video, you're going to see some crazy benefits, okay? So first things first, guys, is the contents of the video, what we're going to be breaking down in this video together today. The first thing is why testosterone is vital as a man. Like, why is this something we need to care about as men, trying to be our best selves, trying to improve ourselves in health, wealth, relationships, and purpose? Why is testosterone important? We're going to cover that. We're also going to go into my story with testosterone, how I've been optimizing it over the years, why I even was drawn to it, the 5 key pillars of natural testosterone optimization, removing the blockers, diet, nutrition, micronutrients, lifestyle choices, training, exercise, movement, supplementation, mindset, and at the end there's a little bonus for you. Okay, so first things first, guys. Why is testosterone vital as a man in 2025? Testosterone is our man fuel, right? Without it, we are docile, we are weak, we are easily controlled. There is a reason that they put fluoride in our water. There's a reason they want us to take X, Y, and Z thing that I can't say on this video because it will get me in trouble, but there is a reason that this world is working very hard to put additives in our food and get us to consume things that essentially have a negative impact on our hormones. And it's because testosterone is responsible for risk-taking, your energy, your mood, your confidence, your competitive nature, your cognitive health, your muscle mass, and so much more, right? It dictates so many different things within our life, and it's so important to have high testosterone as a man. Without testosterone, you become a soy boy, right? Most guys these days are running off very low testosterone levels. They're acting weak. They're acting, they aren't acting in a masculine way. They're emotional, and this can play a massive role in their hormones. Okay, the woke world wants the world low T. They want men low T. They want men to not have this vital power and this vital force, because it really is what makes us men, and it's what differentiates us as men, right? So what is my story with testosterone? So as you can see in this image here, this was me when I was around the age of, I think I was about 17 at this point, right? At this point in my life, I was spending all my time indoors. I was gaming. I was hunched over. I was trying to be the best gamer. I really didn't like my life. I sort of had this inner feeling of discomfort, this inner feeling of like not being happy with who I was. I 100% had erectile dysfunction. I had like no sex drive. This is actually why I got into this, because I couldn't stand that I had this low sex drive. Not only that, I also had gyno, right? Gynecomastia, which is essentially, you can kind of see it here, but like it's where you develop breast tissue, right? Under your nipples as a guy. Kind of weird, but that was a big insecurity for me at the time. It was something that happened because my hormones were out of whack, because I was consuming too many xenoestrogens, and I had no, do you know what I mean? I was in a bad state, basically, hormonally. And as a result, I was very timid. I was approval seeking. I had low energy. I was a low frequency person. I couldn't really put much muscle on. Obviously, I was young, but I was also emotional, right? And this is what put me on the path. I realized that I could change this. I could increase my testosterone. I realized that if I do increase my testosterone, these things might change, because I clocked that that's the thing that, if I increase my T levels, then I'm going to have better libido. Then maybe my gyno will go away, right? But ultimately, as a byproduct over the years of implementing everything I'd learned, I became more androgenic, as you can see in the right here. I have way improved sexual function, way more clear-minded, more confident, more assertive, stress resilient, and I'm able to build muscle very fast, very easily. And here is exactly how and the steps I took to get there. So guys, this is it, right? This is the blueprint, okay? It comes down to 5 key things. All right. First thing is your nutrition. Probably the most important one out of them all. This is the foundation. This is your first building block in increasing your testosterone levels, is your nutrition. Then it's going to be your training, right? How frequently you're training, the style of training you're doing, whether you're overtraining, undertraining. Training is important for building muscle. It's important for increasing your sex hormones, putting your body under a certain level of stress so that it has to adapt. Your lifestyle, right? And we're going to cover this. Supplementation, what supplements, what herbs, what extra vitamins you're adding into your diet to help boost your testosterone levels, and also mindset, right? Just your mind. The power of your mind is incredibly strong, and it definitely correlates to testosterone. So first things first is you got to subtract. Step one is subtract what is lowering your testosterone. Okay, so everyone's out here and they're focusing on, oh, I need to increase my testosterone. What's the supplement I need to take? What do I need to do to boost my T levels? Well, the first things first is what you have to understand is your body naturally, and it like just normally it wants to produce high testosterone naturally, right? It's just that there are certain things, it's most likely the case that there are certain things you're doing within your life that are actually blocking your body's ability to create its own testosterone. And that is why you're not feeling that high testosterone state. So before you start adding in the diet, before you start taking the supplements and training and doing all these different things, you need to remove the things that are lowering your testosterone, right? Because there are a lot of things out there in this world that are literally destroying your T levels, that are having a negative effect on your testosterone production within your body. And I'm going to break down what those things are, right? So first thing is micronutrient deficiencies. This is the most important one out of them all, right? You need to get rid of your micronutrient deficiencies. And this really comes into the nutrition element, which we're going to cover. But that is the key thing. Every single enzymatic and metabolic function in our body requires micronutrients. It's like the lock and key, right? Your body has a lock. If you have the right micronutrient, it opens that lock and it allows your body to express itself in its most virile and energy efficient and abundant way, right? So that's the importance of micronutrients. So you need to get rid of all micronutrient deficiencies. Secondly would be processed foods, right? Consuming things that have, it's become quite a trend now. People eating off chopping boards and eating eggs and avocados and beef and fruit, and they're onto something. This is the whole food diet, right? Because when we're consuming foods that are very much processed, that have things like polyunsaturated fat, which have GMO, which have trans fats, which have tons of different preservatives and things that are basically things that are essentially like fillers that don't need to be there. Your body's having to break down and process them, and oftentimes these are toxic, these are poisonous, and these are basically putting your body into a negative state where it isn't able to function at its best and increase your testosterone levels. But it goes a level deeper. There's something called xenoestrogens, right? Xenoestrogens are chemicals such as plastic, for example, that the actual molecular structure of these chemicals mimics and looks very similar to estrogen. Estrogen is the female hormone, and what happens is when these things leach into our food, because we use plastic cups or we use plastic products too much, what happens is these things that leach into us, we absorb them, we take these on, and as a result, our testosterone levels decrease, right? Because xenoestrogens mimic estrogen, so they act like the hormone estrogen with our body, which is the female hormone, which we do not want that, right? So plastics, I think they've done studies recently where they found that every single guy in his testes, they found microplastics. So we are getting bombarded with these kind of toxic chemicals on a day-to-day basis. Polyester as another example, wearing clothes that are made from these plastics, right? Our bodies are absorbing them. Cosmetic products, deodorants, right? I don't use spray deodorant. Plastic cups, plastic toothbrushes. It seems excessive, but these things do matter, they do accumulate over time. It's an accumulative effect. Next would be fluoride, pesticides, preservatives. As I mentioned, drinking tap water. Tap water is riddled with different things you don't want to be consuming. You want to be consuming distilled water, right? You don't want to be consuming water that has fluoride in it. Fluoride has been proven to calcify the testes, right? It completely disrupts your hormonal system. It just damages your gut health. Pesticides, again, have a negative effect on our body, right? So these are all toxic things. We want to avoid toxicity. Next one is going to be poor sleep, right? A lot of guys want to increase testosterone. We're going to dive more into sleep, but sleep is so important. If you're sleeping like trash, your testosterone is going to go down significantly over a period of time. So it's so important you get optimized sleep. Dehydration is another one. Being dehydrated, not having that, not being fully hydrated is going to affect you. Chronic stress. So acute stress is good. Having bursts of stress is actually good for your testosterone, but having stress over a long period of time will actually decrease your testosterone. So this could be physically, if you're exerting yourself way too much and you're not recovering properly. This could be emotionally. This could be grief. It could be stress. It could be debt. It could be something like that. It could be environmental. It could be you're being exposed to certain compounds or chemicals, or you're living in a stressful environment that's having a negative impact on you. These things can damage your testosterone. EMFs are another one. Your phone, Wi-Fi, social defeat, losing, right? Excessive alcohol. These things will do a lot of damage to your testosterone levels. Okay. Okay, so we've broken down the things you need to take away, right? And these are some of the key things. But the most important thing, as I said, is micronutrients, right? These are the things that are basically going to allow your body to function at its best, to allow your body to access its potential in terms of how much testosterone you can produce within yourself, right? So micronutrients are essentially the building blocks. They basically are responsible for every single enzymatic metabolic process within your body. Without them, you don't function right. Okay, the more nutrients you have, it's essentially like the more keys. Is how I see it. It's like the more keys you unlock to the body's hormonal potential. You need to consume the right foods and remove the wrong ones to start fueling high testosterone in the body. Okay, so this is the foundation, right? The nutrition is your complete and utter building blocks, right? Forget the supplementation, forget the training, forget the lifestyle. If you don't have the right nutrition, you can't train properly, you can't recover properly. If you don't have the right nutrition, your lifestyle won't really count for much. If you're taking purely just supplements, you're not going to experience high testosterone, right? Supplement comes from the word support. That's because supplements are meant to support the already good diet. That's one thing you need to understand. People don't understand this. People go straight to the supplements. They want to know what they can take. But really, it comes down to nutrition. And this is more playing the long game, right? This is you playing that long game to get those long-term benefits. So in that case, guys, what should we be consuming? What do we need to consume in order to increase our testosterone levels, okay? So to just put it bluntly, all right, and this is the thing, instead of focusing on all the things we need to take away, because there's endless things we can take away. There's endless things that we should be avoiding. You don't need to focus on that. Take your awareness away from that and purely just put your awareness and focus on the things you should be consuming. Focus on eating the foods that actually do increase your testosterone. And you don't even need to worry about the ones that don't, right? So if you just put all your time and energy into consuming these foods, you're going to see benefits, okay? So to just keep it brief and to get to the point, things like rice, potatoes, sourdough bread, fruit, honey. Protein is going to be beef, lamb, venison, eggs, seafood, milk, yogurt, things of that nature. Your fat is you want to always prioritize saturated fat and monounsaturated fat. Okay, saturated fat has been shown to have a increase in testosterone. Monounsaturated fat work more from a neutral level, so they're neither increasing nor decreasing your testosterone. But some of the things you can consume are coconut oil, beef tallow, butter, and some very high quality olive oil. Now there are other things you can consume, but I just wanted to keep it super simple here. So you guys, you need to understand that your food is your foundation, okay? Because if you eat an egg or you eat beef, and one piece of food can contain up to 26,000 beneficial compounds, right? Whereas, a supplement can only contain about 26 at most, which is crazy. And these compounds are way more bioavailable. Our body's able to absorb and utilize them way better than we are in supplements, right? Supplements have their place, and we will break that down in this video, but food offers you the long-term comprehensive nutrition that you need to make you feel great. And if you're not eating right, you're doing all the other stuff, it's just not going to work. And I just want to emphasize that as much as possible, that your nutrition is everything, right? You really, really are what you eat. And that is something you need to take on board. It's something you need to understand. So I just want to get that point across. But going into this on a deeper level, right? Let's look at the macronutrients. Now, we've covered the importance of micronutrients, right? It's super important to get micronutrients into your diet. That is going to be the most important thing. And just to go back to this as well, which I feel like I've just missed, is that these foods that I've outlined here, and I'm going to break down some more foods, but these foods are very, very rich in the specific micronutrients that you need in order to fuel your testosterone. Moreover, that not only are they rich in the nutrients you need to increase testosterone, they're also very low in things that will have a negative impact on your testosterone levels. So you're really leveraging, you're really getting a high leverage from utilizing these foods rather than finding different things. Okay, so for me, beef is like the most important thing. I eat beef almost every single day. If I don't eat beef, I genuinely don't feel 100%. Beef has so many compounds in it that are androgenic and help you produce more testosterone. So macronutrients, right? So like I said, we looked at those micronutrients, but macronutrients provide us with our daily energy to produce enough testosterone, right? To keep our stress low and allow our bodies to recover from training. When you prioritize the right foods, you naturally avoid blockers, as I said, testosterone, you need to ensure you're getting the right macronutrients into your diet. And most people today focus on calories in, calories out, right? They're forgetting the importance of the quality of the foods that you're consuming. A lot of people just see a calorie as like, oh, it doesn't matter what I'm eating. It's calories in, calories out. And these people are covered in spots. They're riddled with, they're pale, they're unhealthy, they have anxiety, their testosterone's low, they're taking TRT. These are the guys that run into these problems because they haven't been prioritizing those nutrient-rich foods. I always say garbage in, garbage out, right? It applies to anything in life. You reap what you sow, but you really are what you eat. So you need to be prioritizing high-quality foods. It doesn't mean you need to buy everything organic. It just means you need to start eating the right stuff that gets you the right results you're looking for, okay? So let's look at the calculations of your daily macros and some of the things you can consume to improve your macros. So first things first is protein, right? The ideal protein intake is 0.6 to 1 gram per 0.5 kilograms of body weight. That's it. Do that calculation, work out your body weight, and you want to fall somewhere in between that. It doesn't need to be absolutely perfect. I think people prioritize protein way more than they need to. But if you weigh 81 kg, you would need to be between 108 grams of protein to 180 grams of protein per day. Now, look, if you want to hit that 180 a day, go for it. But as long as you know you're within that range, you're good. You're good to go. And a lot of it is you're not what you eat, you're what you absorb, right? So you are what you eat, yes, but you're also what you absorb. And in many cases, your body can only break down so much protein at a time. So when people are like, oh, I'm drinking this protein shake, it's got 40 grams of protein in it. Well, how much of your body is able to actually break that down? So prioritizing, I don't even use protein shakes. I don't drink shakes. I eat real food. I eat beef. I have, to be honest, I just eat beef. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I don't really eat much else. I don't really like pork. I don't really think pork is that healthy for you, or especially from a spiritual point of view. Eggs, I can do eggs every now and then. I'm not consuming them like I used to. Maybe I'll consume them a little bit more. And other meats like salmon and things like that, just for me, I don't enjoy them enough. Chicken I might eat. White meat is good. But the main sources of protein is you want to be getting them from animal foods, right? Because animal foods contain the most complete and also the right amount of ratios of protein. Because your protein is essentially made up of amino acids. That's what protein is. It's built up from lots of different amino acids, which are micronutrients within themselves. And plant proteins often lack complete amino acid profiles, right? If you're a vegan and you're annoyed at this, what do you want me to do about it? It's just the reality of things. We've evolved. I think people know about the carnivore diet. They know that meat is powerful. I think anyone that's watching this channel and subscribed to me has already been exposed to these kind of concepts. So they're not. It's not a shock to the system. But we really do want to prioritize these high quality meats, right? It doesn't need to be organic. It can be, especially beef. If you're not buying organic, I would recommend going 5%, because oftentimes fat is where the toxins are stored, right? So if you can get a lower percentage of fat when you eat meat, it's going to be a little bit more healthy for you, at least in my opinion, and you're getting more protein pound for pound. But you want 20% of your calories to come from protein, right? So that's something you want to bear in mind. You can write that down, but this is the main equation you want to keep in mind. So you know exactly how much protein you need to get each day, okay? So next up would be carbs, right? So with carbohydrates, you want 20 to 60% of your diet to be carbs. Now, the reason that gap is so big is really because you can play around with that as much as you choose, right? Carbohydrates are very easy for the body to break down. They give you that energy, that glucose. They keep your cortisol low. They replenish your glycogen stores. And it's important fuel for your overall well-being, your stress levels, keeping them low, and your intense workouts. When you're training, you need your carbs, right? Before your workout, you need carbs. After your workout, you need your carbs to get the glycogen back into the muscles. So your best sources of carbs are going to be things like fruit, grapes, watermelon, apples, bananas, anything that's fruit is pretty much classed as carbohydrates. Your potatoes, right? White potato, sweet potato, great source of carbohydrates. Honey or maple syrup works well as well. Even though the people, oh my God, honey is great for you. Honey contains lots of compounds that can increase testosterone. Then you got white rice. For me, I would say, where I'm getting most of my carbs is probably from fruit, honey. I mean, to be honest, I eat all of these. I consume all of these. Potatoes, white rice. White rice would probably be the main thing I consume. I do enjoy white rice. And white rice is better than brown rice. I don't know why people think brown rice is better. So yeah, you want 20 to 60% of your calories to come from carbohydrates. So you can play around with that. And next up would be the fats, right? So you want 20 to 60% of your diet to be fat. Again, this is one of them things where you can kind of play around with what works for you. I personally keep my fat a little bit on the lower end. I know a lot of guys like to just bombard themselves with fat because it converts to cholesterol and that is a precursor to testosterone. Personally, I prefer to keep my fats a bit lower because it's slightly harder for your gut to break down. But you want to prioritize foods with high in saturated fat. Okay, polyunsaturated fat, also known as seed oils, these create inflammation in the body and actually suppress testosterone and androgen production. Right, so you're going to find a lot of seed oils and a lot of processed food. When you look at the packaging, you see soy oil, peanut oil, sunflower oil. These things are very highly processed. And they essentially, what they do is they oxidize in our body and they create inflammation, they create oxidative stress. And as a byproduct, this affects you hormonally and it lowers your testosterone. So prioritizing these higher quality fats is going to be amazing for you in terms of feeling great and having that high T level. So great sources of fat. Beef is a great source of fat. You know, if you're eating 20% or 5%, you're going to get a lot of fat from meat. Beef, you know, lean cuts of beef are obviously more protein dominant, but there's going to be some fat there as well. Dairy, so butter, cream, full fat milk, anything dairy like that is going to be high in fat. You got eggs. Eggs are a great source of cholesterol and fat as well, and protein. Tallow, ghee, which is slightly more old school, you know, traditional way of cooking. Ghee is like a calorified butter, so it's butter with no dairy in it. I'm pretty sure that's how it's talked about. Tallow is like the fat from the cow. It's very very rich in nutrients, but it's not the magic pill. I wouldn't recommend going crazy with these things. Like, yes, they can have good benefits off the bat, but if you're just going crazy with the tallow, I don't think it's as great for you. I personally use coconut oil and olive oil because I find they're more kind of softer. They're not as heavy. They're not as hard to break down, and they're just nice to cook with. So that's the fat you want to focus on. Okay, guys, so that's your nutrition there pretty much covered. If you focus on those things, you're going to be getting all the micronutrients. You're going to be avoiding the blockers, and this is going to help massively to increase your testosterone. But in terms of what you can do within your lifestyle in order to increase T levels, these are some of the things you can implement. Okay, so one of the most powerful things, I think research has been shown that athletes in summer reach their peak physical performance. People's libidos in summer are the highest, and people's testosterone levels are the highest in summer. One of the reasons for this is daily sunlight. Okay, getting exposure to sunlight is going to help regulate your hormones. It's going to help you with your circadian rhythm, and it's going to increase your vitamin D levels within your body, which as a byproduct will increase your testosterone levels, right? Everyone knows that vitamin D is a great way to increase testosterone, and I personally think supplements don't really do it justice, right? So you want to be getting in the sun as much as you can, at least 30 minutes a day, you know, nothing crazy. You don't need sunscreen, just go out, get some sunlight. There's different types of sunlight throughout the day. That's going to affect you differently. So in the evening, it's going to be more of a red light. It's going to be a lot easier on the eyes. In the peak of day, it's going to be more blue light, and this is going to be far more stimulating and is going to have that like more potent effect. So getting exposure to sunlight, exposing your skin to sunlight, and getting as much of that as you possibly can is going to increase your T levels. End of story. You know, that's just how it works. So the next one is, I've highlighted it in red here because it is the most important thing, is getting 8 hours of quality sleep. I feel like you could do all this right. You could have the right nutrition. You could take all the supplements. You could be training. You could be taking, you know, you could be doing everything we've said in the video so far. But if you're not getting those 8 hours of quality sleep, you will not feel the benefits. And I don't think people realize, like, I think that people just overlook this. Oh yeah, whatever. Like, I get enough sleep. No. You don't understand. Like, you need to get quality sleep. From 9 p.m., the hours before 12, basically in traditional medicine, they believe that the hours before 12 essentially are more responsible for your psychological replenishment, right? And then the hours after 1 a.m. focus more on your physiological development. So it's really important to make sure you're getting those hours before 12. You know, this is kind of more bro science, but your testosterone starts in the mind. You know, obviously it starts in the I think it's the pituitary gland, right? Am I actually bleeding right now? No. Okay, I need to edit that out. But yeah, so it starts in the pituitary gland. But some of the ways you can improve your sleep to make sure you're getting better and high quality sleep is, number one, is having your room blacked out. You know, whatever that means. Even just one small light in the room can negatively impact your sleep. So make sure all the lights are off. All lights are covered up. I use an eye mask, you know, to make sure I'm not getting too much sunlight. You know what I mean? Just gives you that blacked out effect. It really helps. You want a low room temperature. You don't want to be too hot. You also don't want to be too cold, but keeping your temperature on the lower side. Bear in mind that the testes, if overheated, struggle to produce testosterone, right? I don't think you need to go crazy and be like, oh my God, like I need my balls to be iced all night long. Like this is kind of unpractical and I don't think really has a massive effect. You know, just making sure that your temperature in the room is low is going to be good for sleep. Mouth tape is also great. It can be used. It's going to prevent sleep apnea. It's going to help. It's just going to improve your sleep. It's going to improve it by 0.01%, or it's going to, you know, it's going to improve like 0.1%, right? But it does have a benefit. So if you want to do that, do it. Earplugs are great, you know, to block out any noise pollution or anything going on outside, or, you know, that could be bothering you, whatever. Or if you live in an environment that's kind of like noisy and you get woken up in the night, earplugs can be great. One thing, and I would actually change this actually, because I've been looking into this a lot, right? So for me, I've been sleeping west and east the last, I don't know, year maybe. And I didn't even clock that I was not sleeping north to south. Now, the thing is, why this is important is that there is a magnetic pull coming from the earth. Obviously, everyone knows that there's a North Pole and we have north, right? Our minds we need to be lined up with the South and North Pole. I don't think a lot of people believe that sleeping with your head pointing towards north is bad. I don't know. You know, I have no idea. I personally prefer south. So sleeping with my head going south, I feel the best because that's just what I do. I dream a lot more. I sleep better. So that's something you can implement. I recommend, if you can, looking into that and seeing, because if you sleep west to east, you're going to notice like a different type of energy. You're going to be a little bit like fuzzy, a little bit more kind of agitated. Whereas I feel south and north, for me personally at least, make me feel a lot more like calm and relaxed. I get a better night's sleep. So there's something to implement. Reducing blue light, right? So as the evening comes along, reducing blue light, reducing the amount of blue light that's coming into your eyes is going to be super important. Because what happens is when you have blue light exposure late, it tricks your mind into believing that it's daytime, and it starts producing the wrong hormones at the wrong time of the day. So you end up like not being able to fall asleep, and then if you can't fall asleep, you're then losing out on sleep, then you're lowering your testosterone, right? One last thing you can do, and there's other things you could potentially do, but just off in this video, you know, certain supplements you can take, which we'll cover later on, but grounding is also powerful. Okay, so you can do grounding like me here in this image on the beach, getting my feet to connect with the earth. You can buy a grounding mat, which I also have. I use it sometimes, but that's going to also help with your sleep. It's going to help with relaxation, things of that nature. Okay, but that is the most important thing in terms of lifestyle, is getting your sleep down out of everything. Sunlight would probably be second on that list. 10,000 steps a day has been scientifically proven to increase testosterone. So keeping the body active, keeping the body moving is going to make you have higher T levels. Being sedative, sitting at home doing nothing, is going to lower your T levels over time, and that's been shown as well. Removing xenoestrogens, right? So cosmetics. I use a brand called Pit Rock for like deodorant, which is a salt-based spray. It doesn't use any chemicals. It's great. I've been using it for 3 years now. I've never used anything else. It genuinely works. You have to look that up. Pit Rock, Pitrok, I think. But there's other brands out there. You want to find things that aren't, you know, same goes for like your toothpaste, you know, fluoride-free toothpaste. I know it seems, yeah, like woo-woo, like, oh, this guy, he's like a conspiracy theorist. But no, I genuinely believe that's important. Your gums, you know, your gums are absorbing what you're putting into your mouth. So you want to make sure you're putting in things that are high quality. And yeah, obviously anything else, right? Showering products, find natural alternatives, try and avoid things that contain a bunch of chemicals, because these things are lowering your T levels. The skin is the largest organ in the body, right? The skin is porous. The skin absorbs whatever you put onto it. So you need to be conscious of that. And a lot of people say if you wouldn't eat it, don't put it on your skin, right? So this is super important. Shower filter, water filter, okay? Again, same principle. Your body is porous. Your body absorbs. So if you're in the shower every single day and you're getting trashy water on your skin, it's going to dry your skin out, but also you're going to be absorbing that water, and that water is also containing chemicals and things that are not going to be good for your testosterone. So getting a shower filter, they're super cheap. I use one called Royal Sea shower filter. I've been using it for years. It's amazing. It also has a vitamin C thing that like adds in vitamin C, which is good. But also a water filter. And I put water filter because you can have like, there's lots of different things out there. There's a reverse osmosis. There's a water distiller. You get these Brita jugs, which are terrible. You get these under tap filters you can get added in. What's right is up to you. Personally, I use a water distiller, which vaporizes the water and it brings it back to pretty much pure water. The only downside to this is the water is no longer, it's got no minerals in it. It's not structured. But I can live with that personally, because I'd rather drink that than drink something that isn't 100% pure. And I do notice a benefit for, if I drink tap water, I feel it hurts my gut, it damages my gut. And I just feel like trash. Super important, guys. Water, definitely need to fix that. Obviously, you can opt for bottled water. But again, the bottled water is obviously going to be in plastic. But like at the end of the day, it's not about being completely obsessed. Like, oh my God, I have to fear everything. Like it's just about doing the 20% of things that get you to 80% of results. And that's really what we're trying to do in this video. We're not trying to go into crazy detail. We're just trying to keep it as simple as possible. Quick things that you can implement in order to start seeing those big changes, right? So yeah, again, as I said, chronic stress, physical, emotional, psychological, environmental, right? Anything that, if you're emotionally dealing with something, or you're being psychologically, you're not happy with your life, you're depressed, you hate your environment, you're doing the same thing over and over again, you don't have a sense of purpose in your life, you're not striving to be the best version of yourself every single day, you're not hanging around high quality people, and all these type of things can be causing you chronic stress, and as a byproduct of that, it's going to lower your T levels. So ways you can work around this is, one, adaptogens, which I'm going to touch on a little bit later on. Meditation, getting present to the moment. Grounding is going to lower your stress levels. Sauna is amazing for stress. There's lots of other things you can do, or even just getting to the root of the problem, or making changes in your life, things of that nature, or making yourself stronger, right? Doing semen retention, breaking away from the bad habits is going to help you get stronger and produce more testosterone. Cotton clothing is super important. It kind of ties into the cosmetics, I guess, or whatever. But one of the biggest things is wearing Calvin. Like, you can use any brand, but I just use Calvin Klein because they're 100% cotton. There was a study done that showed that basically if you wear polyester underwear, completely destroyed fertility, completely. I don't know exactly the mechanisms of why that's happening, I don't know what that is, but I don't need to be a genius to like read between the lines of what that means. So making sure you're wearing, 100% cotton underwear is going to be super important. The reason it's specifically that part of the body is because that's where your testosterone is being produced, right? This is a proven fact. If you're not doing this, definitely make that switch as soon as possible. Socializing, being around women, being around other men, being around competition, right? Being in this, not having a good social environment, not having competition, not having other guys to push you and take you to the next level and hold you accountable. This is gonna lower your T levels, okay? So it's super important to socialize, get out there, see new environments, do new things, conquer. That's what testosterone is, and we're gonna touch on that in the mindset element later in this video. But yeah, winning, again, we're gonna touch on this again, but winning, right? Studies show that when you win, your testosterone increases. One other thing I will add to this list that I haven't put down is semen retention, okay? Obviously, you guys know that that's something I've preached a lot in my previous videos, but semen retention does play a role. You don't have to be an absolute monk where you do 10 years of semen retention, but making sure that you're being conscious and you're not repeatedly wasting your vitality, wasting that vital energy, okay? So next up would be training. So when it comes down to training, guys, I don't have a split. I don't have an exact program of, okay, you need to do this exact program in order to increase T levels. All I can really give you is the principles of what you need to do in order to increase your testosterone through training, right? So lifting heavy increases T levels, okay? As you can see here, nothing crazy, but we got the 44s, you know what I mean? Making sure you're pushing the weight, right? If you're going in the gym and you're lifting the same weights over and over again, you're not going to get that, well, you're not going to build muscle to begin with, and also you're not going to have that like stimulus forcing your body to adapt. Okay, on top of that, or contrary to what I just said, that essentially you don't want to overtrain. Right, the key is not to overtrain. It's not to put your body under so much stress, because what that does is it actually has the opposite effect, and it lowers your T levels. Because ultimately what we're trying to do is we're trying to break our body down, put our body through stress, but we need the right calories, we need the right protein, we need the right amount of sleep, we need the right amount of time to actually recover and allow our body to get back to where it needs to be, so that we can engage in these things effectively. But exercise and training is vital for your testosterone, right? Long cardio, so marathons, 15K runs, like things like that are going to actually, over a long period of time, negatively impact your T levels, because what they're doing is they're very high cortisol. They're going to get your stress really high, and testosterone and cortisol have an inverse relationship. The higher your cortisol goes, the lower your testosterone goes. What we're looking for is acute stress. So we want stress, from a long period of time. It's just an acute little thing, like one little experience that increase your stress, like a hard chest day, and then you go back to your normal life of chilling. That's where you're going to see those benefits of testosterone. Explosive training also has been shown to increase T levels. So doing things like muscle ups, clapping, push-ups, anything that requires explosive power. Sprinting has been shown to increase T levels. That's going to help build more testosterone. High intensity interval training is going to be better for testosterone. So boxing, or like HIIT workouts, things like that, where again you're getting that acute intense stress, but it's not that long, like, oh, I've been running for an hour and a half and like I've completely destroyed my body. That's kind of and you can see it. People that do marathon running and things like that tend to be a bit more thin, tend to have like they don't have that muscular androgenic physique, because their body's not like being pushed in the right direction to generate that. Okay, so when it comes to training, really what you're trying to do is you're trying to put your body under stress. You don't want to overtrain, you don't want to kill yourself in the gym. You just want to fall just underneath that threshold of killing yourself, so you can actually recover and you can have that testosterone boost as a result. Okay, cool. But yeah, that kind of covers the training element. A lot of people like reverse pyramid training. I don't do that very much. I do just normal 3 sets of 10, or I'll go for a top set, or things like that. That's just how I personally like to train. I don't think you need to worry too much about the exact specifics of the program. It's just about doing a program that works for you, you can stick to, that's getting you results. I just do legs, push, pull. That's it. I just run that on repeat again and again and again. And that's what gets me the results I want. And, I tweak it and alter it, where I need to. But that's kind of how it goes with the training side of things. So next up will be supplementation, right? So as I said before, that everyone's favorite one, right? We got to this part of the video. Everyone wants to know what supplements can I take? Everyone loves supplements. But the truth is, guys, there is no magic pill testosterone boosting supplement. This image here is just a random image. Ignore it. I don't even know if that's a real thing. I just think it's a stock image, right? But the word supplement comes from the word support, right? To support something, there needs to be something there. Like, there needs to be something to support, right? If you build a support for a bridge, there needs to be a bridge to actually support. Otherwise, it makes no sense for there to be any kind of support, right? So that's why the diet, the lifestyle, the training needs to be on point first, but mainly the diet. When your diet's on point, you're going to have, you can start implementing supplements, right? So the key ones I would recommend, there's probably a million things you could take. You could go online, okay, I fell into this trap when I was younger of like, oh my God, like this increases testosterone, and this increases testosterone, and this increases. So if I take all of these supplements, that's going to mean my testosterone goes up, which isn't technically wrong, but it's like, why don't we just eat a bowl of supplements, with our cereal? Do you know what I mean? It starts to get a little bit crazy. So what I would recommend is picking a few things, maybe 4 at the most, like I've got here, that actually get results, that actually are high leverage, that actually make you feel good. Like I'm putting you guys on game right now. I'm telling you the shit that I've been doing. Like, I'm actually doing this. This is how I live my life, and I would recommend this. I've worked with, I've communicated with some of the best guys out there when it comes down to this, and it's really simple. Less is actually more, and I can tell you why these things are good. Okay, so first things first is magnesium, right? Magnesium is amazing. Why? Because we just simply don't get enough of it within our diet. Magnesium is responsible for over 300 enzymatic functions within our body, right? It's incredibly important. It's been shown to increase testosterone. It's an electrolyte. It helps muscle relaxation. It helps with mitochondria, ATP. It's going to help with everything that's going to lead you to better testosterone. So magnesium just has to be in the diet. It's very hard to get your magnesium from your nutrition. So it's one of those things that you can't get from nutrition. Okay, let's go for the supplement, right? Because that is then fulfilling the role of supporting that diet. Okay, magnesium glycinate is probably the best. There's a lot of these 3-in-1, 5-in-1 magnesiums where they put different variations of magnesium, like different compounds, because they're bound to another. I don't want to make this video too complicated, but basically with magnesium, as long as you're getting glycinate or citrate, these are going to be the good ones. You just want to make sure when it comes to any supplement you buy, 9 times out of 10, you want to avoid oxide. Anything that's like magnesium oxide or zinc oxide, your bioavailability, meaning what you can absorb from that, is about 1% with oxide. But with glycinate, it's like 60%, citrate, it's like 80%. But if you can get a one that has multiple different magnesiums, great. But I would recommend, if you're wondering which one to get, just go with magnesium glycinate. I think it's the best. Also, it's good because it contains glycine, which also helps to, basically glycine works as an amino acid. It's very calming and relaxing, so it's great before sleep. So that's another thing I was mentioning about sleep. Taking magnesium can definitely improve and help your sleep quality, how easy it is to rest, sleep, and also helps with your gym recovery because of the magnesium. It's good for your muscles, stops those muscle cramps. So magnesium is great, right? It's super important. I highly recommend magnesium. Next one, and that's why it's highlighted green. The next one is creatine monohydrate. If you're not taking creatine, what the hell are you doing? Like, seriously, what the freaking hell are you doing? Like, every single guy and their dog needs to be taking creatine every single day without fail, 5 grams. It's best taken post-workout with carbs, because basically your body is way more ready to absorb the creatine if you consume it that way. However, I just take it now in the morning because I notice the cognitive benefits are so good. When I have it in the morning, it does just make me feel ready for the day. Okay, it just makes me feel sharper and clearer minded. So I use it first thing in the morning. You can do loading phases. I don't think you need to do that. We're playing the long game here. We're not trying to get the shortcut. We're not trying to get the quick fix. We're trying to get the long-term results. So just taking it 5 grams a day, it's going to take about a month to actually saturate and to start seeing the benefits, but it needs to be coupled with training. But you can take it on your rest days. It just needs to, it's so simple. 5 grams every day, just non-stop. You don't need to cycle it. You don't need to come off and on it. You just take it every single day. It has so many benefits. It's the most researched supplement. It's a no-brainer. Start using it. It's going to help you not just physically. It's going to help with your testosterone. It's going to help your cognitive abilities. It's going to have a lot of different benefits. So I highly recommend creatine. Definitely get that. It's very inexpensive. Both of these are very inexpensive. So moving on, I put this one in. It's kind of a bit more rogue. It's a bit more different, but I do think it's worth a mention. Is Lactobacillus reuteri ATCC 6475. The reason I put in the actual specific one is because that strain is the one that has been proven to increase T levels in studies. It's quite hard to find, but Lactobacillus reuteri is an incredible probiotic because your gut health is something we haven't really covered in this. But your gut health is equally important to your testosterone, right? If your gut's off, it can actually completely tank your hormones. Lactobacillus reuteri is a specific strain of probiotics that most people don't get, but it's so powerful. It's great for your skin, great for your hair, but it's really good at basically keeping your gut clean. It gets rid of bacteria that shouldn't be there, but it has been shown to increase testosterone, increase all those androgenic hormones. It's also interesting because they did a study with Lactobacillus reuteri, and basically what they did is they put rats in a bucket of water, and the ones that had the Lactobacillus reuteri in their system, they didn't ever stop swimming. So the other ones gave up and died, but these Lactobacillus reuteri rats, they didn't stop swimming. So there's something going on there with it's incredibly powerful. Highly recommend looking into it, researching it, and I've got a resource at the end that I can point you in the direction towards if you want to learn more about that. But yeah, I take Lactobacillus reuteri. I think it's amazing. I love it. Yeah, I think it has great benefits like blood flow, loads of different things it can do. Really cool. And then the last one, guys, I'd recommend is zinc, right? Zinc, again, it's one of them ones that we just don't get enough. It's very important for our testosterone production. We just don't get enough in our diet day to day. Gluconate, glycinate, picolinate, one of those three. There's other ones out there, but again, you just want to avoid the oxide. If you get zinc oxide, it's just not going to absorb, and it's just kind of pointless. It's a waste of money. When it comes to things like nutrition and health, when it comes to things like education and health, always have a saying, never go cheap on health and education. So when it comes to supplements, just going slightly higher quality does pay dividends in the long run. But zinc, yes, you can take zinc, dosage per day, 10 to 30 milligrams. But that's gonna have a positive effect. Now you'll notice that I haven't put on certain things like vitamin D or B vitamins, because I personally don't like vitamin D, because I'm kind of concerned with I've looked into it and I don't think it's as good as we think it is. I think it can cause actually a lot of problems personally from my own research. So I'm not going to recommend vitamin D. I don't really have a stance on it. A lot of studies have showed that taking vitamin D has increased T levels. But I think ultimately for me, I'd rather just get my vitamin D from the sun. Personally, I think the amount of IUs you can get just from 30 minutes of sunlight, it completely blows vitamin D capsules out of the park. So I would focus more on that. And yeah, that's really the main things when it comes down to supplementation. Obviously, there's other things out there you could take, but we're just focusing on the key ones. And I would say these are the key ones to implement. So definitely look into that. But moving on from supplements, looking at herbs as well. So what herbs can increase testosterone? So the thing about herbs are kind of like your like power ups kind of thing, if you ever played, or like, I don't know, I see it as like you think of like Call of Duty, right? It's like your kill streaks. When you your ammunition is like your nutrition, right? You've got ammo, you're using it constantly, but every now and then you can get that kill streak that's gonna just add that extra bonus onto you and how you feel. So there's some really powerful herbs. There's lots of things you can take, but really there's only a few that you really should give your time and energy to. Personally, I love Bulgarian tribulus. I think it's incredible. Tribulus terrestris or Bulgarian tribulus is very, very androgenic herb that gives you that like powerful, rock solid, alpha kind of. It does have a slight aggression to it. It does have a slight edginess. So I take it before working out training. And it's so good. When I don't use tribulus, I don't feel as strong in the gym. I don't feel as up for the gym session. I don't use any kind of pre-workouts or anything like that. I take some tribulus and I go train, and that's enough for me. Tonkat Ali, I'm not huge on Tonkat Ali, but the studies have shown that increases testosterone. A lot of people know about Tonkat Ali. It's great. It does work. It does get the job done. There's another one called Fidojo Grestis. You'll notice it's not on this list. I personally think you should watch out with that, because I think there was something to do with like it damages the cell in the testes. So that's another element. Shilajit. Incredible. I use Shilajit every single day. Shilajit again has been shown after 3 months of consumption to boost your T levels. It has a whole host of other benefits for just overall well-being and health. So I highly recommend Shilajit. I think it's worth using. Fenugreek too is great for testosterone. I've never used fenugreek, but I do know from the studies it's good. Ashwagandha is probably the most well-known and most popular one. I don't really like ashwagandha. I've used it. The problem with ashwagandha is you can run into something called anhedonia, where you take too much of it and basically it blocks a certain receptor in the brain that is to do with like your senses. So you become somewhat numb. It's called anhedonia. I actually experienced that, so I'm a little bit hesitant to use ashwagandha. If I ever do, I do it for like 2 weeks max. I'm not pushing the limits with this stuff. But it's a great adaptogen, right? So when we talked about stress earlier, high stress levels, using ashwagandha is a great way to basically mitigate and deal with stress in your life, because it basically brings you back to a state of calmness. And Shilajit is also an adaptogen. Rhodiola, I put rhodiola rosea is the one you want. Doesn't increase testosterone. Like the studies will show, it doesn't increase testosterone, but it's neutral. So it basically helps to balance your hormones. It helps to keep you on a nice in a nice state. It helps you deal with more stress. So if you're training a lot, if you're working out a lot, you're doing all this crazy stuff in your life, it allows you to just deal with that stress a lot easier. I really like rhodiola. So I thought I'd throw it in there as kind of like not so much a testosterone booster, but a testosterone protector. You know, it protects your hormones. So those are some herbs. There are more out there, and if you, again, the resource I have at the end, you can do some more digging with that. But moving on, guys, the final step, guys, is mindset. So one of the things is very interesting is that essentially mindset is a massive component to testosterone levels. And it's probably one of the ones that is overlooked quite a lot in my eyes. And the studies have basically shown that men who thought they were winners had testosterone levels that were 14.46% higher than their deflated opponents. So social victory actually increases testosterone. And testosterone actually has been shown to make effort feel good, right? It makes the hard things in your life feel good. It increases your competitive nature as a man. So as an entrepreneur, as someone who's trying to build a business or an athlete or anything, you benefit from having high T levels. It's going to make just winning, it's going to make you want to win even more. There's a quote here by a guy, a neuroscientist, who says, when two animals face off before a fight, their testosterone levels rise. Winners can see a tenfold increase in testosterone, while losers' levels may drop by the same amount. This effect can last for months. So winning is so important. Getting wins, and that can be just your to-do list. You've got a daily to-do list and you just get it done. You know, you're taking action towards your goals. You're moving towards your bigger vision. You're going and hitting the gym sessions. You're doing your habits daily. You know, you're taking care of health. You're eating the right foods. You know, you're competing in something. You're winning. You're making money. Making money is going to be huge. I think really helps. You know, even just winning in the sense of like you carry yourself like a winner, you dress like a winner, you look like a winner, you're in great shape. When you walk around, you feel confident, you look in the mirror, you like what you see, you know. These are all wins, and these are all aiding your self-perception, your self-image, and as a result, you're increasing your T levels. When you're losing, when the world's beating you down, you know, for example, sex as an example with a woman, it's been shown to increase testosterone. I haven't put it in here because I'm not trying to promote degeneracy, but I think a big component of that is just you feel like a G. You feel like, oh, I've just gone and done this with this girl. That must mean I'm attractive, right? So you're getting that boost in T levels. So mindset is super important for testosterone, and having that kind of leadership mentality, being at the cause and not the effect, right? Rather than being a derper who's just like, oh yeah, I'm just going through life, da da da. No, you're actually in control. You're actually calling the shots. You're actually designing your life by, you know, designing your life. And this ties into everything to do with this channel: self-improvement, becoming your best self, and just being on the highest possible frequency. That is what mindset is. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's something you need to implement. Is something you factor in, something to factor in. And I think it's super important to have that strong mentality. And that's what's going to get you that extra boost in testosterone. So guys, to conclude this video, I just want to break down, there is a community that I am also a part of. I believe this is the place to go. Okay, if you've found value in this video today and you're like, you know what, this is some good knowledge, this is useful, go and implement these things, go and take these things on board. But if you want to take this knowledge to the next level and you want the place to go, you want me to point you in the right direction, there is a community that I'm also a part of on school. It's called the Testo Tribe, and within that tribe, is run by a guy called Hans Amato, who's going to be a podcast guest in the next couple of days of this video posting. And you know, he's an absolute expert when it comes to testosterone optimization. I've been following this guy for about 5 years, and he's the reason I've got to this level of knowledge. He's the reason I've got the results I've got. And this tribe is a community of like-minded men who are on the same journey, trying to become the best they can and getting the highest quality information. There's so much fluff out there. There's so much BS out there. There's so much stuff that's leading you astray. If you really want the real stuff that's going to get you results, this is the place you want to be. It's not, you know, it's simple, it's easy to implement. And as you can see, all these guys in here are getting amazing results. You know what I mean? And I'm one of those people, and I'm super grateful for that. So with that being said, the link for the Testo Tribe community will be in the description below. But regardless, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you have got some value. I've been excited to make this video to change the style of content. And yeah, I feel like there's a lot of value to be had with everything that's been said. So go and take these steps, go and implement them, and watch your testosterone levels double, triple, quadruple as a result. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.